Hello everyone, my name is Michel Zibara and I'm gonna walk you through that presentation which is all about PMI PBA. Before we crack on with that presentation, I'm gonna take 2 minutes from your time to thank each and everyone which subscribed recently to my channel. I would encourage you guys to subscribe to my channel, and if you like the content, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button so you can receive my videos once I upload them. With that, we're gonna continue now with that presentation, and our table of content, mainly we're gonna address to whom is the PMI PBA is intended for. We're gonna have an overview of the PMI PBA course content, how to apply for the exam, what is the exam like, how to study for the exam, and what is the value from that certification. Is this certification of a value for me? Let's watch and see. Whom is PMI PBA intended for? Well, PMI PBA is intended mainly for anyone. It's not limited to a group of people and restricted or confined to that group of people. However, there are personnel which might be seeking rigorously and aggressively to pursue that PMI PBA certification. And those personnel are mainly business analysts, project managers, and other people who perform business analysis tasks as part of their role in any corporation. However, in a projectized environment, other people might be interesting, or other people might desire to tackle or sit for that exam, prepare for the PMI PBA and sit for it. And the reason behind it is gaining more knowledge, of course, and improving the success which they have a key role as a team member in that project. So the other reason is to improve their project success rate. What are the prerequisites for qualifying to take the exam? Here we have two options or two conditions. Condition number one mainly is for the people with a secondary degree or an equivalent. For that category, they require a 5 years of experience working as a practitioner of business analysis in their past 8 years of their career. In addition to that, they require 2,000 hours working on projects, of which 7,500 hours of business analysis earned on that during that 8 years of their career. Condition number two, with lesser requirements because of the bachelor degree. So for personnel that hold a bachelor degree, it is required a 3 years of experience working as practitioner of business analysis earned in their last 8 years, plus 2,000 hours working on the project, and 4,500, as you can see, 4,500 less than this criteria or this category, because again they hold a bachelor degree. So Any of you might fit in each of these categories, and these are the two options here, either this or this. But a third, and which is not an option, which is a mandatory requirement, is that each category, each personnel fitting in each of these category should have completed 35 hours in business analysis, and that can be attained either from PDUs or can be attained from classrooms in certified PMI institutes or centers, or could be universities. Some universities, they offer this course. In our next slide, we're gonna have an overview of the PMI PBA course content. So what is it all about? If I'm gonna study for the PMI PBA, which is the Business Analysis Professional exam, what I am going to pass through, which topics I'm gonna learn. In simplistic terms, the PMI PBA course content chapters are arranged by domain, each chapter representing a domain. Very simple. So here are the domains, and you have for every domain a chapter which explains it in details. So, needs assessment domain. Needs assessment domain is a domain where the business analyst identify a problem, a business problem or opportunity, and identify key stakeholders impacted, and propose high-level solution options. And I'm specifying and stressing on the importance of high-level solution options because we are in that domain, and building the business case in order to move on to the next step, which is developing the project charter. So it ends, needs assessment domain ends when we build, or when the business analyst in collaboration with other project members such as the project manager develop the business case and submit it to the sponsor. So this is where the needs assessment domain gets fulfilled, right? But that's the domain that gets fulfilled. Needs assessment is definitely a continuous, iterative, and progressively elaborated process throughout the business analysis the cycle. The next domain or chapter talks about the planning. And here, guys, we need to be very mindful that the planning in project management is totally different than the planning in business analysis. Again, when we talk about the PMP, we have the project constraints. When we talk about the business analysis, we have the business analysis constraints, and we have to draw the line between the two. How? Now someone will say, what do you mean, Michel? It's not clear. Well, I agree. Let me go deeper into the details, but as quick as possible, so we don't spend much time. In later videos, we're going to discuss the details about each and every domain. So when we talk about PMP, planning phase, we talk about scope management, planning for scope management. We talk about planning for cost management. We talk about planning for schedule management, planning for quality management, planning for risk management, planning for procurement management, planning for resource management, planning for stakeholders management within the framework of the project. Okay? Within the framework of the project, all of this planning. However, in business analysis, it is still planning within the framework of the project, but I am planning or mainly answering the question of how I am going to elicit requirements, analyze these requirements, how I'm gonna trace the requirements through requirements traceability matrices and monitor them. What is the change control process after verifying and baselining and approving the requirements, and how I am going to plan for future evaluation, business evaluation domain, which is again evaluating the solution options and evaluating and testing, mainly testing how I'm gonna perform the testing of the solution prior turning it over into operations. So this is the difference between planning in the business analysis and planning in planning. Sorry, excuse me. Right, I'm just playing around. And planning. What do I do? Right. I kept on playing around until I messed up. Right. Okay, so I'm planning, back to the planning. I'm planning between the PMP and the PBA business analysis domain. The third chapter talks about elicitation. Elicitation and analysis. Some of the books combine the two chapters, the two domains, in one huge chunk or one huge chapter, but it is preferable to segregate, though in study, the elicitation from analysis. So elicitation is mainly you are trying to help your stakeholder explain their requirements, because sometimes our stakeholders cannot even explain, or they don't even know what are their requirements. So here comes the business analysis profession and the business analyst analytical skills, which help with his communication to formulate and support the stakeholders to be able to explain and to write down their requirements. So elicitation is mainly the business analyst is trying to help the stakeholders understand and explain or articulate their requirements. Analysis is a continuation of the elicitation domain, where the business analyst continues to analyze, to decompose all the requirements which were collected and gathered from the stakeholders, and decompose them and through different techniques such as interviewing, focus group, and it depends on the situation. Again, we're not gonna delve deeper into that because this will be discussed in details in subsequent presentations. Right. Another chapter discusses the traceability and monitoring domain. In simplistic terms, requirements traceability mainly tracing requirements. As we know, or as you might know, every requirement is linked to a project objective and project goal, or organization or strategic goals, and it is also linked to phase deployment, to solution components. So once the requirements are baseline, any change in the requirements would impact the interlinked requirements. So this is when we are tracing backward to project objectives and impact on the business value, and tracing forward on solution components upon any change in the requirements. And after baselining, any requirement change definitely requires the change control board or change control process approval, because that has an impact on a lot of parameters or lot of constraints, business analysis constraints or project constraints, schedule, cost, and scope, of course. Probably could be quality also. So after baselining requirements, traceability and monitoring kicks in to measure the rate of progress and to ensure any requirements change after baselining ensures that the change control process kicks in place. Evaluation domain is, in simplistic terms, is like integration testing or probably quality assurance, or depends on the organization. They use different terminologies. For instance, some people might be familiar with FAT, factory acceptance tests. So that means that evaluation domain is a domain which study the solution performance prior rolling it out and turning it over into operation. So that means testing, unit testing, integration testing, and all sorts of testing to evaluate the solution prior turning it over into operations. Evaluation doesn't stop. The evaluation domain doesn't stop before the project or the solution rollout. It continues even to post-solution deployment to ensure that the solution brings back business value and is maximized. The utilization of that solution is maximized by the end user. So post-evaluation continues after for a duration of time after turning over the solution into operations. Our next slide discusses how to apply for the exam. Well, very simple. I recommend that you guys visit PMI.org or click on that link. It depends on which certification you're gonna process, and fill in an online application. And a tip here, ensure upon filling and applying online, make sure you prepare all the supporting documents, taking into consideration or assuming that you will definitely be audited. And believe me guys, the PMI audit process is not a simple process, and that's what makes PMI highly credible and industry recognized or globally recognized institute, right? So prepare to get audited. To abide by the guidelines of the application, it is advisable to read the PMI PBA exam content outline to categorize your experience into the PMI PBA domain. Of course, before you fill in your application, go to the Google search that, and you will get the option to download the exam content outline. It's available on the internet for everyone. Once you are eligible to sit for the exam, you have 1 year to sit for the exam, 365 days. And that happens in a Pearson VUE authorized test center. Right. A tip again here is plan. You have 3 attempts to pass the exam within 1 year. So my advice here, plan to sit for the exam every 4 months, so you can maximize the utilization of your attempts. So let's say I've applied in January. Okay, I should sit by the end of April and attempt for the first time that exam. If I fail, then I have May, June, July, August. At the end of August, I can attempt the second time. And if I fail the second time, I still have 4 months before the end of the year to sit for the final attempt to sit for that exam and pass it. So go for that strategy. I recommend it. What is the exam like? The exam like, it's a 200 multiple choice question, 4 hours exam duration. Questions variate from one domain to the other. They are shuffled. The exams, you will see questions jumping from one domain to the other. You have no option to mark questions for review and go back to them if you are unsure of the questions, of the answers. And that means you have the option to mark and progress quickly to complete the exam for the first time. So don't do the mistake of many people, that you get stuck on one exam and you waste time, and at the end of the day your time will finish, your time for the exam will finish, and you will end up failing because you could not complete your exam. So my advice, a tip here is go quickly over the 200 multiple choice questions, answer what you can, mark what you do not know, and go back another time, and I'm pretty sure you will solve all the exam and pass it. PMI does not release the PMI, the passing score, for your individual results. Okay, it's either a pass or a fail. And upon completion of the online exam, you will be notified immediately that you either passed or failed. PMI scores randomly 175 questions out of 200 questions exam. And that means, it doesn't mean that you will try to answer 175 questions as best as you can. On the contrary, you should attempt to answer 200 questions as if the 200 questions are all graded. So that will definitely maximize your chance to pass that challenging exam. How to study for the exam? Everyone develops their own study plan. So my advice is to think what better worked for you in past exams and adopt it as this method to prepare for the PMI PBA exam. I cannot tell you guys what to do. You know better yourself. No one knows yourself more than you do. But what I can do to help is share with you my experience, my personal experience, right? And I've used that on all my PMI exams, and it was a guaranteed success. So, and by the way, this is by sequence. So I recommend that you follow the sequence. Do not start and lose momentum by giving up or stopping, no matter how tired you are. I would add to that statement, and no matter how you are discouraged by people or criticized by people. So go ahead, don't stop until you get it done. Buy the PMI PBA exam prep book Premier Edition. This is something around $60-70 US dollars. Read it thoroughly once, cover to cover. Read the PMI PBA exam content outline. Read the PMI PBA exam prep book. Oh, by the way, here you can get it also. Search Google and you can get the content outline. Read the PMI PBA exam prep book Premier Edition a second time thoroughly. So read it another time thoroughly. Take notes from the book. Take all the PMI PBA exam prep chapter practice exams for all the domains, right? So at the end of every chapter you have 25 exam questions. So accumulate all these questions, and then do them all once or twice. Check why you have answered correctly these questions and mistakenly each question, and know why. This is very important. You might answer correctly, but you might not follow the methodology or the way of thinking which PMI adopts. So make sure you know why you answered correctly. Read the PMI PBA exam prep book Premier Edition a third time thoroughly and refine all your notes you have taken. Download the business analysis for practitioner, a practice guide from PMI.org. You need to be a PMI member here. So PMI membership subscription somewhere around $150 or $160 per annum. Purchase the BA Fast Track and take a practice exam to measure your knowledge. If your grade is below 85%, repeat the above process again and take another BA Fast Track practice exam. Guys, this is very, very, very important. Please take that very seriously. If you score 70 or 75%, go again and start from the beginning until you get 85% or higher. Is this certification for me? What is the value of passing the PMI PBA exam? Well, let me tell you, and then you will decide. The benefits of this certification are listed here. So, first of all, that will increase your knowledge of business analysis even if you have a lot of experience. A lot of people are experts. They are brilliant business analysts. But with them having the PMI PBA, that would make them hold better place and position in the organization. They will be more valued. The second benefit, demonstrate that you have the will and ability to complete a challenging and globally recognized certificate. You should have a strong will. You should be stubborn. You should not let other people discourage you. You should continue. You should not start 10, 15, 20% and stop at the beginning, or stop halfway, or stop 75%, or study and then do not sit for the exam. You have done nothing. You need to grasp the knowledge and you need to complete it end to end. You need to demonstrate that you have the will and the ability to complete a challenging and globally recognized certificate. Improve your effective communication skills. For sure, you will be using a lot of terminologies, a lot of technical business analyst terminologies, which will make you stronger among other business or certified PMI PBA professionals. Advances your career and increase your opportunities of growth at work. That's clear, crystal clear. Interact with an international community of business analysts and exchange lessons learned. Brilliant. Expand your network, increase your connections, become a leader in your organization by better responding to business needs and evaluating business value. It's all about business value. It's all about return on investment. It's all about business profit. This is the most important thing, which every organization is built to focus on. Go for that interesting challenge and invest your money, time, and energy in it, as the benefit outweighs all these efforts and harvesting success is guaranteed. Go for it. So now, with that, I would urge and I would recommend each and every one of you to go for it. Invest your time, money, and energy. It's worth it. Do it. Get it done and share your success with me and with your community, and promote it. Promote it for a better world. If you promote that and get more people to complete this certification, you are helping the world. You are making the world and the universe better. And that is PMI primarily goal. That is Project Management Institute's goal. And we as PMI members and we as PMI members have a duty to promote that. Okay, so with that, I would thank you, and I hope that this presentation is informative and interesting to all of you guys. Please, again, if you like that presentation, if you like my channel, hit that subscribe button down in the corner right hand side. Hit that bell icon so you can get more videos when I upload. Thank you so much.